Cool, thank you very much. So I'm really happy to be here. I'm so happy to be here because it's 11 p.m. in Dublin. It's literally nighttime. So I was like spending my late hours with you guys.
Good to meet you.
So yeah. So I work at Hubspot and I work in Dublin office. So you probably know Hubspot as a company based in Boston. So in Boston, we have a headquarter, but we also have headquarter in Dublin, and I work with the EMEA market. So I work here from Dublin. So look, I am a senior growth specialist. What it means, I'm a sales rep, right? So for you to kind of understand, I'm not VP of sales, I'm not a sales coach, I'm not a manager, I'm a sales rep. So basically what I do, I sell every day. So my goal today is to have a good chat with you, first of all. I really want to kind of have a good discussion because usually when we have online sessions like this, and when I am a participant on those online sessions, I just kind of get bored when the speaker is walking through the presentation. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask, feel free to interrupt, go into chat. I'm really happy to address them throughout the presentation today. Okay, so the agenda that we currently have that I've prepared for you guys today is to speak about some key metrics of SaaS. So we will speak about what is SaaS and some key metrics like MRR, LTV, CAC, and churn. So if you don't know what it is, you will learn it in a minute. If you're really familiar with those terms, no problem, you will kind of master their basics again. After that, we'll speak about sales roles in SaaS organization and how those roles align with company growth metrics. So why it is important to understand how SaaS organization works, how SaaS organization forecast, and how they actually generate the revenue. It's really important for any sales manager who works in that company. And the last point, successful sales mindset. Again, I'm a sales rep, so if I will tell you a bit more what kind of a successful sales rep mindset looks like, and if you have any questions, we can just have a quicker discussion with you here. So think about, if we speak about SaaS, you guys probably know what is SaaS, but I will tell you kind of bit of a background, like a story behind SaaS. So think about how businesses operated like 10 years ago. So when you are a business owner and you have a challenge or a problem, and you realize that the only way to solve that problem is to have a new technology. So what you would do, like, okay, I need a technology. Imagine like 10 years ago or 15 years ago. So you have basically two ways to go. So the first way, you hire IT team in your company and start building that software from scratch. So basically you have your own in-house built customized system. Or there is another way. So maybe you receive a cold call from a Microsoft sales rep. And a Microsoft sales rep tells you, look, we do have a solution. You just buy it once, you install it on site, and you do with that solution whatever you want. And if you go with that second option, you will end up implementing and customizing that solution for years to actually make it work. So basically, their problem that businesses had 10 years ago was to find a solution and to implement the solution to make it work for the business. So things have been changed, and the way they have changed is that if you are having a problem right now, the first thing you will go Google. You will go into Google and just type your problem, and you will see a list of 30 different solutions. So basically, you will need to decide what solution you want to buy and what solution you want to go with. So think about, like, right now, businesses, they care about time as the most precious value. So they care about time. They want to address their challenges fast. They want to adapt to new market realities really fast. They want to be flexible. They don't want to spend years on developing a software. They don't want to spend years on implementing the software. So that's why SaaS businesses, they are thriving right now, because they give that value. They give them a solution that will work immediately for their business, right? So if you go Google and you have different options to choose, the problem the business owners have right now is the problem to choose a right software. So 15 years ago, they had a problem to find a solution. Right now, they had a problem to choose what will be the best one for them, right? So basically, they go Google, they go to different vendors' websites, they read customer case studies, they go to review sites to see some comparisons, and only when they have kind of shortened that list from 30 vendors to 5 vendors, they will go and speak to sales rep. And they will be hoping sales reps to help them choose the right tool. So they don't want to hear a sales pitch, but they really want sales rep to understand what they're struggling about and to consult them, advise them in a best way, right? So when they make that decision, it's kind of very straightforward process. They made the decision, they sign up for the software, and they have access to that software immediately, right? So basically, they let vendors, SaaS vendors, care about everything else. They let SaaS vendors care about hiring AT guys, about resources, about system updates, about expenses on hosting. They don't want this anymore. They want the solution to work immediately for their business, right? So basically, what is SaaS? SaaS is a quicker decision. You sign up, you pay for monthly or annually, you have access to that solution immediately, and you have access from everywhere in the world, right? And that's why SaaS businesses are developing so fast. That's why we have so many SaaS companies. That's why we have those startups every month, every year. So this industry is thriving. And if you guys are making the decision to um, uh, either to join this, either to kind of work in this industry, or you are working in SaaS already, you're kind of making a good choice. All right. So, and those SaaS industries, they have metrics. So they need to understand how to grow. They need to understand how to develop their business and how not to dive after like a year they launch a startup, right? So basically, one of the metric is MRR. MRR stands for monthly recurring revenue. So basically, if you are a sales rep in a SaaS organization, you might have an MRR goal. So your manager will tell you that you need to close 5K MRR every month, right? MRR meaning that basically this is number of customers and monthly fee for service you get from that customer. So we have two metrics: MRR, monthly recurring revenue, and ARR, annual recurring revenue. And SaaS businesses, they track both of them. But for you, as for the sales guy, you probably will be caring about MRR. But basically, if we speak about SaaS business, our goal is not only to make money, and we care not only about making money, but we also care about how much money we spend. And this is the second metric, which is CAC, cost to acquire a customer, right? So at minimum, it will include marketing and sales spend, for example, like salaries and like something that you spend in resources on your offices, on whatever. So this is cost to acquire a customer. And it's very important to really track this metric, because if you are signing a lot of customers, those customers churn within 3 months, you're not getting any profit because your CAC is higher than that revenue that you're making. So CAC is actually total expenses multiplied to number of customers acquired. And another metric which is kind of key for the sales business is lifetime value, right? So basically, the only way to recover the cost companies invest in acquiring customers is to keep them as customers for a long run. So the longer a customer stays in, the more revenue the company brings in, and the more likely they are to make up their CAC and begin to profit. So think about this. Majority of SaaS companies make profit from a customer who stays as the customer for at least 12, 18 months. So if you sign up a client and that client churn after a year, you are not making any profit on that customer profile, right? So business really care about how long those customers stay, so they actually gain the profit. So that is kind of to summarize what we discussed before. we need to understand how to evaluate that LTV. So businesses use this LTV to CAC ratio, right? So basically, the best way to determine whether the LTV is healthy or not is to compare it to the cost of acquiring a customer. And importantly, you want your LTV CAC ratio to increase over time, right? So this means that business is gaining efficiency over time. So we either need to increase the value of a customer or decrease the cost to acquire a customer, or both, right? And the perfect here, kind of the general rule of thumb for a SaaS business is that the LTV and CAC ratio should be greater than 3. So if you put $1 in the machine and you get $3 back, that's a good machine, right? So that's why you kind of understand, I spend lots of money on marketing, I hire a lot of sales rep, but do I actually make profit? I need to look at my LTV, calculate this ratio, and understand where I stand for. So if this ratio is lower than 3, it means that you spend more than you earn. If it is greater than 3, it means you're doing really good. Let me click into the chat. Maybe you guys have a question. Okay, no questions. All right, cool. So that was kind of the most important metrics that SaaS businesses in tracking. And right now I want to tell you why it is important to know and why I kind of dived into that theory. It's important to understand how their business operates if you wanted to join that company in the sales role. Because in the sales role, they might be different roles and positions, right? So first of all, every single position, every single role, they have their own goals they measure for, right? So if we speak about sales rep, what is the goal? Of course, new MRR, right? So the sales rep is coming to our company to bring more customers, to close more businesses, right? There is another role, which is account manager. Sometimes they call it farmer, right? So this is actually a person who is making upsells and cross sales, and that is crucial point for the SaaS business, because cross-selling and upselling lowers CAC. You're not spending money on acquiring customer. You work with existing, right? You're not spending on marketing. You work with existing business. It increases delight. So when your customer buy new products or they increase their, I don't know, number of licenses, it means they love your software, and it means they will stay with you for longer. And that has significant potential to increase LTV. So if we speak about SaaS business, it's not only bringing new customers, it's also about selling to install base to existing customers. And there is another role, customer success manager, right? And the goal here is low churn rate, right? So here, since SaaS businesses can only make money when the LTV of a customer exceeds the initial CAC, we need to actively work to prevent that churn. We need to make them stay with us for many years. So you kind of see this pattern that every role in the company exists for a reason, right? It has a certain goal, and the goal is to align with company growth metrics. And so their company really grow over time and make profit. If we speak about those roles, like questions that some people asking me, like, what skills are important for those roles, right? So speaking about sales rep, account manager, customer success manager, what skills are important to have? Like, can a really good customer success manager be a really good sales rep, right? So there might be really different kind of skills required, right? So if you wanted to join a SaaS organization and you're thinking about sales role, really think about your strengths. Really think about what you are passionate about. Like here at HubSpot, I'm a sales rep because I'm really driven by money, right? I really wanted to make more MRR. I want to have more businesses. That's my goal, right? I really a hunter, So I really I'm good at communicating with people. I love competing with other vendors and prove why HubSpot is better. I love negotiations. That's why I'm a sales rep. Farmers, so if you're not feeling like a hunter, but you're really good in empathy, you're really nice in building strong relationship, right? So this is how farmers actually good at, right? So farmer role is to build a good relationship, because for every business, it's really easy to churn from a vendor. It's not that easy to churn from a partner. So if you have a good relationship with your customer, even if that customer has a major problem with your software, I telling you, you can resolve it, because customer has trust with you, customer has relationship with you, and you can resolve any kind of question they have or any problem they have. For the customer success manager, so they deal with their existing database. They help customers to adopt the system. So basically, what kind of skills required here? I mean, like, do they need to be good in building relationship? Probably yes, right? But what is really crucial for the customer success manager is to be that problem solver, right? To find a solution, fast, to respond and kind of respond to the business need in a right way at the right time, right? So if you want to kind of, again, to join a company in the sales role, like to join a sales organization, right? Think about where you want to be, right? Do you want to close new business? Do you want to maintain good relationship with the existing customers and do upsells, cross sells, or you want to provide kind of good support and make those customers stay with the business for many years?
It looks like Kateryna, one question came in from Harry. Can you clarify why account managers are called farmers?
Yeah, I just heard this term in some of the businesses, so that's like how they call it. So look, it might be different for every SaaS organization, and some SaaS organizations don't even have this account manager role. So for example, here at HubSpot, I work with new biz and I work with install base. So I do both, right? In some sales organizations, we have customer success managers who are doing upsells and cross sales, right? So really depends on a business. So if you wanted to join a specific company, just check on their careers, how they call and what responsibilities they want for the sales rep, and you will define what that actually means, because sometimes people asking, what does growth specialist means at HubSpot? And that's what it means: growth specialist, new business and existing business. So we're growing a business over time, right? So it depends. Farmer, I just heard it from some of my customers. They call it like this. So it's just, okay, I'll add that.
Yeah, I think also the way I've thought about it is, a farmer cultivates their land, right?
Yeah.
They try to
Yeah.
get more crops out of their land, and same thing here. You have established relationships, obviously, with a bunch of your customers, but there's opportunities. You said this right before. There's opportunities to probably generate more revenue for them because the trust is already established. You already got them in the pipeline. You don't have to pay more to acquire that customer. They're already there. How can you make sure that you're providing them as much value as possible and not leaving money on the table?
Absolutely. So think about if I share my experience at HubSpot, why we do both, why we work with new business and with install base. Like if I sign a customer, so HubSpot, we have different products. We have a product line like marketing solution, sales, or a help desk, right? And basically, if I manage to sell CRM, a sales software for a business, there might be a need for marketing or service over time. And I already know the business. I already know who to speak to, and I already have relationship. So for me, it will be much easier to kind of get in touch with them and discuss some other opportunities. For me, it will be easier to do the upsell and cross-sell, right? So really, pharma, it's like cultivating the relationship. Absolutely, yeah. So for HubSpot, if I deal with both, I really need to keep an eye on how my customer is keeping. We have this, what we call growth calls. So once in 3 months, we have a call. I just check on them, how they're doing. And that call helps me to qualify them for something else, right? So I'm thinking, okay, so you're happy with sales. How about marketing? What you guys are using? Okay, you're using Salesforce. So how your sales marketing people are happy with the Salesforce? Let me talk to them. And they are happy to introduce me to the marketing team. They know me, they know HubSpot, right? So this is how I kind of, from one department, I'm moving to another one and do my upsell or cross-sell, right? So that is what is really important. So if we speak about churn rate, if you're really having a strong kind of upsell and cross-sell opportunities, even if somebody churns, and that happens, like your software cannot be perfect for any business, and you will have churn over time, definitely. But if somebody churns, let's say $100 churn, but you make $100 upsell, you're keeping that ratio, you're keeping that balance. So that's why every business is really focused on upselling and cross-selling.
Kateryna, how does the practically in these roles, understanding these economics help you? Because like I know if you're in a really small startup, then the founders and the CEO's responsibility is to keep control in these metrics and they report it back to the board. But for you and HubSpot, where it's a publicly traded company, it's a large organization with offices all over the world. How practically, like, what's your responsibility for keeping track of these metrics as a sales rep versus, let's say, an account manager keeping track of the customer acquisition cost and LTV metrics?
Yeah, it's not about keeping track. I definitely am not kind of following those metrics, HubSpot metrics regularly. For me, it's important to understand those metrics and really kind of understand why my manager tells me, okay, you have, for example, like 100 clients in your install base book. So why you are not having upsells and cross sales, like why you're not speaking to those customers. So I understand that it's important for business. And also for me as the sales rep, it's important to understand how I contribute to the company. Because if I start closing a lot of businesses and those businesses are not a good fit, I'm not bringing money to the company. They will churn eventually, right? So I'm a good sales rep, I'm doing my quarter, I'm doing my number, but then you realize that if you have a high churn, you're not bringing any money. Business spend more money on my salary rather than I make profit for them, right? So that matrix and that understanding of the basics helped me to really kind of be more strategic and really meet expectations of my management and grow and get promotions and so on, right? Because I understand why it is important to bring good fit accounts, why it is important to deliver good product, why it is important to do this upsells and cross sells. I know that, and I do a good job, and I'm kind of having my promotions and career in the organization moving forward,
I love that. And it's actually a good, those of you here that may be evaluating opportunities at different companies in these different sales functions, sales, account management, customer success, it's a good measure of joining a quality organization if they are very proactive about tracking and measuring these metrics. Not all companies are good at that. Not all companies treat that as something that's serious. So you may ask them in the interview process, if you ask questions about how they track this type of information, you're going to stand out as a candidate, and it'll help you evaluate that opportunity of whether it's a good opportunity or not.
Yeah, and you will kind of give this impression that you are responsible and you have accountability, and you kind of understand what you work for and how you can contribute to organization. Because it's a lot of, like, if you're a sales rep and you come to your company and you only focus on money, and this is your only driven goal, like in the long term, it won't pay off, because again, you need to bring good business. You need to help your company really have this healthy LTV CAC. So then you develop your skills, you develop your career, and you're growing as their professional as well.
I have one more question, and I want to let you move on, obviously, because I know you have other slides. I know that for your customers, for example, you have other SaaS businesses, you're selling to other software companies. Do conversations about unit economics, the economics of a business, the investment they're making in your CRM and the return they're going to get, like, how does that play into your sales process? Because I'm sure you come off as much more of a domain expert when you can intimately understand the problems of your customers as well.
Yeah. So you mean like how they measure this themselves, or?
Or I guess like during the sales process, part of how you're, I'm sure, communicating the value of your solutions is the return on investment that they're going to get. So
yeah,
how does understanding the math play into that and help you close those deals?
Yeah. Actually, we kind of always try to dive deeper into their metrics and see how they are doing, and we understand where this bottleneck. So where is their weak area we need to focus on, right? So it's really it's really surprising that a lot of businesses, if we speak about SaaS businesses that I like kind of speak to, they don't have a clear understanding of those metrics. Like they really focus on short-term revenue goals. They're not really building a right strategy long-term. So imagine they hire like 5 SDRs who are doing cold calling. They have 3 sales reps. They spend lots of money on those teams, right? And they kind of have give a goal. You guys need to bring us new business, do whatever you want, but you need to sign new business. And those people do their job, so they do sign a business, right? But since they are not kind of covering what really important for the SaaS business, they are signing bad customers, they having bad feedbacks, and in the long term, it's never pay off, right? So then those customers will write bad reviews about your company, and you don't have a good healthy growth, right? And then they kind of, but that is my sales guys are not kind of really doing a good job. It's not a sales rep. You're like, they start blaming sales rep, but it's not actually their fault, because you didn't clear and give them a proper understanding what they need to do and what they need to focus on and how they need to work. So it's really interesting when I have the conversation with their businesses, with SaaS businesses, they always ask the same question at the very beginning. My sales rep don't sell enough. My sales rep don't bring me more money. So they're so focused on this money now rather than strategy later, like a goal growth later, that it's something that really really harm businesses, and eventually they will just die on the competition. So if you're bringing the value, if your sales rep know how to bring a value, if they know how to say no to some businesses, because sometimes sales rep need to say no, like, we're not a good fit, you better look at that solution. That will gain respect to your brand, and in the long term, you will make much more profit and much more return if you have that proper strategy in place.
Yeah, I appreciate you sharing that, because I think that's where, some people think the future is not going to have salespeople, and I disagree with that. There's always going to be people that need their hand held a little bit, that need clarification, that need to understand, how, let's say, your offering could play into the success of their business in the long term. And that's how, that's the difference between a successful salesperson and a really good salesperson that's actually a consultant to that business, that, like, you will get introductions to the marketing team without a question, versus somebody that gets brushed off because clearly they might not even know what they're talking about. So I appreciate you sharing that. I think that was great.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why if we speak about sales rep mindset, I just have this 2 key points. So the first point is kind of if you want to be a successful sales rep, you need to know your client, you need to know your product. Because for company success, it is not only important how much MRI you bring, but also ability to bring healthy clients on board. So what it means for you as for the sales rep is to really be an advisor and a consultant. So as I told before, businesses have problem right now to choose a right software. So can you imagine, like, you are a business owner and you wanted to buy a CRM and there are thousands of CRM. How you're going to choose if every single sales rep will pitch you features and will tell you the same sales elevator pitch, you know? So honestly, if we look into, if you look at list of similar vendors and we listen to the sales calls, you will realize that every single sales rep says the same thing. So they will tell you it's easy to use, it's user friendly, it's quick to implement, it's one platform, it's easy to integrate. How much is your budget? We will fit that budget. So basically, they're not helping you, like they're not helping the businesses to choose. So it's really important when you speak to your customer, dive deeper into what is their pain, what is their problem, and consult. And honestly, if you feel your product is not a good fit, you need to tell it. You need to say, like, unfortunately, I feel like HubSpot is not a good fit for you now. You're not ready yet. So you might go with the solutions like that. So it's interesting how you see that reaction of a person. So when you say this and he's like, are you saying me not to buy HubSpot right now? And you're like, exactly. And the thing is, I had like a real example. I had a call with a customer maybe 6 months ago, and he worked for an organization. It was a SaaS business. And we had a good conversation, a lot of discovery, really nice discussions. But then I realized that HubSpot is just too early for that company now. So I advised them to go with other vendor. And he was so grateful for that. So he like really appreciated that, because me, as their HubSpot representative, I know competitors better than he knows competitors. I know if I really understand what he's looking for, I know what vendor can deliver that if HubSpot can't, you know? So I advise him to go with other product, even point them kind of in the right direction. And what is interesting, that he changed the job. He joined another company 2 months ago, and he came back to me saying like, Kate, I'm working in this company. Look, I need a marketing software. Let's talk. And I closed a deal with him this month. So I didn't close a deal 6 months ago when HubSpot was not a good fit for that specific company. But that person have this respect and have this relationship, and he get back to me. So if I closed him 6 months ago and it was not a successful project, he will blame me. He will never work with me again. And he will churn and he will kind of have a really negative feedback, negative review. But what I did, I really tried to consult him and advise him in the best manner I can. And basically this is how you gain customers for life. And they will become your champions. Any company they will work for, they will join a company as a CMO and they will say, look, I actually have good experience using HubSpot. So let's look at the software and implement. So that's how those people bring in your software from one organization to another, because they're your champions.
Not only that, but they're also your personal champions. So if you leave HubSpot, you go somewhere else, they're actually likely to follow you and buy products from you in the future just because they like you.
Yeah, absolutely. So like, think about when you speak to a customer, like think about this, like you're speaking to a friend. And I mean, you really want to help them. So they talk to you because they don't want to listen to your features. Guys, like you have website, you have so many resources, they know the features. They're not care about features when they speak to you. But what they're really hoping for is that you help them to make their right decision. And if you do, that's a customer for many years. And like without like sales rep mindset, like it's really, things have changed as well, because if 10 years ago, the sales mindset was like always be closing, you know, when we have this trainings, like always be closing, no, you need to push it to sign. So right now, it's not always be closing. It's if you consult in the right way, if you help him realize how your software can solve their problem, it won't be a question of closing. That will close, you know? So if you're just pushing them for sign without any proper qualification, without any good discussion and thoughtful really strategy to help them realize what they really need, you won't get that deal, right? They will sign with me and with HubSpot because I just listen to them more carefully and I really advise better than you, for example, you know? So like always be closing, don't look into that tactic anymore, better be more consultant advisor and a really good partner for the business. Maybe there are people from, maybe anyone have a question. Here we have chat.
Yeah, it looks like Masha had a question, and I want to make sure that we get the sentiment right. But how do you get access to your potential clients' metrics? I don't know if that.
Yeah,
maybe
it's fine. It's fine. Yeah, I got it. So so think about this. So I'm selling Get Marketing Self-Service. So I'm selling a software which they will use to track their customer buy journey. So this is like a core for every business, right? And for me to understand what they really need, I need to understand where their business now and where they want to be, right? So we need to look into current metrics. So the way how I have access, they give me that access. So sometimes I have customers who say, like, I just want a demo. I'm just, okay, so look, we have a call like 30 minutes today. I just really need to kind of better understand what are you looking for? What do you want to improve in your business? Can you just answer a couple of my questions so I can advise you better moving forward? And the customer saying, no, I just want a demo. Like, all right, so look, you just don't need me then. So if you want a demo, I have a recording. I will share that recording with you. If you have any questions, get back to me. If you want me to advise you and to help you really understand if HubSpot is a good fit, I need to understand how your business is running right now. And, you know, so think about this. I'm kind of providing them a free consultation. Sometimes customers hire consultants and advisors and pay money for that consultation. While me here at HubSpot, Sales Rep at HubSpot, we give that for free, right? So we just can justify why we need to discuss those metrics with them first before moving to a demo, right? So that is kind of their like get access. They just give me access.
I love that. You very strategically, in a very nice way, just keep pushing by making them understand that without that information, you just can't help them. And ultimately, that's really the only option. And people will try and push you for a demo, and you fall into the trap as a sales rep of giving some sales reps, beginner sales reps, fall into the trap of giving a demo before they even know the problem, and then they're just spending all this time talking about something that could be completely irrelevant.
Yeah, sometimes when sales reps do this, they just speak about features they like. You know, look, I will show you a demo. So we have this nice feature and this nice, something which is irrelevant to your customer at all, but sales rep love this. And like, I want to speak about this during the demo, right? So it's a really wrong approach. So never do a demo unless you really understand what to demo. Like if you're selling a software one feature, okay, maybe that's a point. But you're selling a software which can address multiply issues. You need to understand that issue and then really show how your software can solve that issue.
I'm curious, how do you do that kind of needs analysis early on, aside from, you know, asking them to share their metrics with them, but making sure that you're doing that qualification so that you can not only understand that it makes sense to even continue the conversation, but understand how to navigate the conversation afterwards? Because especially with HubSpot, you guys have so many different solutions. It might get pretty.
Yeah. So, okay, let's imagine a situation. So I have a business and they tell my sales reps don't sell. I need a CRM. I like, okay, why do you need a CRM? I need to track what they're doing. I need to have track on, I need to have reports on how many calls they're doing, how many deals they're closing. I need to know all of this. I need to build a sales process. I need to tell them what to do step by step. I need to monitor all of this, so some people like, they don't sell. That's a problem in sales reps. I need a CRM to automate it, to build a process, to see reports, right? I'm like, okay, cool. So you don't sell, your sales rep don't sell. Cool. So how many sales rep you have? 7. Cool. What is their quota? 5K MRR per month. Okay, so they need to make, okay, I'm bad in math. So 10 reps, 5K MRR, so 50K per month. Okay, cool. I was like, all right, so let's look into the demand gen. So how you guys generate leads for your sales reps. And they're like, oh, we have 2 BDRs, we have some email marketing, we do some paid ads. Okay, so how much money you get from SDRs? What is the average deal size by SDR? What is the average deal size by email marketing? What's the conversion from traffic to lead, from lead to customer? And they stuck. They don't know. They don't know. So they blame sales rep, and then we dive deeper and we understand they don't have enough demand for sales rep to close. So the goal here, so again, if I didn't have this dive and proper qualification, I would pitch sales, I would pitch CRM, while their problem is lack of demand. They need to have marketing to generate demand, so the sales rep have somebody to speak to and close, right? So it's really very kind of insightful when you understand this, because your sales rep literally don't have leads. What do you want them to close? Like if you want them to close, you need to provide them that opportunities, right? And some companies they don't realize it. Like salespeople are not generating demand. Salespeople are closing, negotiating, providing consultation, but they need people to talk to, right? So some companies still operate like it was 10 years ago, when sales rep like do cold call and do everything and everything. It doesn't work like this. If you work in the industry and you have 20 competitors, your leads are just going to your competitors because you don't have a proper marketing, and your sales reps struggle and you have bad morale and they just leave. And you, instead of just blaming your sales rep, look at your demand gen first. So he came to me to buy CRM. He went with it marketing, right? Because I really understood where the problem there.
That's great. And that's one of the benefits of working for an organization that can offer, that is, mature enough where it can offer multiple products to address these business needs, but also where the sales staff is clearly trained to be more consultative. And like you said yourself, you're not going to just close a deal for the sake of closing it, because actually that's going to be counterproductive. They're going to churn anyways. You might as well focus on only closing the deals where there's going to be the most value created. So I love that. And thank you for giving the example, essentially role playing with yourself of how to qualify that. That's great. In that vein, I'm curious. And by the way, folks, we have about, 10 minutes left. So if you have questions, either about anything that Kateryna talked about or about her sales process, feel free to drop them into the chat. The question that I have is, if you could tell us a little bit more about your role and kind of the day-to-day as a senior growth specialist at HubSpot. What does your calendar look like? How much of it is internal meetings versus external? If you're a hunter and a farmer, what's the distribution of your work and the like?
Yeah. So for every kind of sales rep, what you need to understand is that when you join an organization, you will learn from that organization. So that company might have a proper sales playbook. And when you join a company as a new sales rep, you will have onboarding process. And you will kind of learn your product, you will learn the customer, you will understand how the business works, how to close, and what kind of tactics to use, strategy to use, and so on. So don't think that you need to know everything when you join the company, because you basically 80% of how to become successful sales rep in the organization, you will learn in that organization, right? So I joined HubSpot last year in February. I had 1 month onboarding. So what is really important during that onboarding is to learn a lot. So you need to really be open to learn, and don't think that you know better than people who work there. You don't, right? So that was kind of my problem, because I thought I am the smarter on the floor. Everything you're doing is wrong. I know better. So I was kind of really, I was not open for feedback. I was not open for learning. I was just doing my thing, the way it worked for me in the previous company. But the thing in HubSpot knows how to make a successful sales rep, what skills that sales rep needs. And if you kind of open for that and really start to learn and execute on a specific sales process, you will become successful. So really important kind of note here, if you look at a very successful sales rep, the best performer in the company, you might think that sales rep is just a genius. It's like a huge talent, right? But wrong. It's wrong. It's not a talent at all. That sales rep just executing consistently. That sales rep has a process in place. That sales rep is learning every single day to become better. And that's what really nice kind of at HubSpot and in every company I actually work for. You need to ask. So when I joined HubSpot, I was literally joining calls of the best sales reps. I was learning from them. If I had a question, I went and asked this question. If I had a question for Brian Halligan, who's the CEO, I chatted in Slack with Brian Halligan. The thing is, everybody is interested that you are becoming successful, because if you're successful, your team is successful, your company is successful. So if you don't know something or you're struggling with something, you really need to find a person and you need to learn from everyone. So regarding the sales process, I can share with you kind of my calendar, how my calendar looks like. So this is what I call like consistent execution. So basically, guys, if you work as a sales rep, and if you wake up in the morning, have your coffee, and you don't know what to do next, that's a bad sign that you're doing something wrong. So you really need to have a plan for every single day. And in my calendar, I have certain blocks even. So here you see like reactive prospecting. So what I'm doing here on reactive prospecting, I'm basically following up on my QLs. Here. I'm following up on my QLs. Then I have meetings with the customers. Then I have lunch. I never skip lunch. Then I have another meetings, and then I have task queue for the next day. So basically, I need to understand what I wanted to do on my next day. So QLs, meetings, lunch, and then I have also target prospecting. So this is where I call to my install base. This is where I hunting for those best feeds, nurturing their relationship. So kind of how I work on the process. So the thing is, I'm doing the same stuff every single day. I'm not skipping my planning at the end for the next day. I'm not skipping my target prospecting if I need it, because kind of there, the thing is, if you want to be successful and you have this consistent plan, you will get there. So think about, and that was my problem when I joined HubSpot. And I will share with you even that slide right now. If I find it, that will be the last one. Cool. Just give me a second.
Yeah, while you're pulling that up, I actually really loved seeing your calendar and even how you create that consistency day to day. I think people forget, you get excited. Oh, I want a new job. I want to be motivated to do the work every day and take on new challenges. And they forget that being successful in any job or entrepreneurial endeavor, by the way, for that matter, is actually more about the same things that you do on a daily basis. Like once you identify a process, sticking with it, and that consistency is what will make you successful.
Yeah. Like to really prove our words, guys, look at my attainment at HubSpot. So this is my attainment. So I joined in February last year, and you see that I was doing good in May, in June, and here I had a huge problem, right? I was not meeting my quarter in July, August, September. And then we dive, sorry?
This is the percentage of your quota that you were able to.
Yeah. So like 100% of my quarter, then we have this kind of, so think about this. So here I was struggling, right? And we had one-to-one with the manager every week. We tried to understand why I'm struggling if I was doing so good, right? So basically, I understood one really good insight. I was so focused on what is going on now. I was not even thinking about future. I mean, think about this. I had monthly quota. I really care what I will close this month. So if I had a customer who is not ready to buy now, I was like, next, next. So, so I was like skipping and trying to find and trying to make this monthly quota. But then my manager told me, like, Kate, think about where you want to be in 6 months and what you're doing now to be there. And when I realized that, okay, my goal is to have customers to be closed in 6 months as well, not only now, I had this process which I execute every single day. I do my account prospecting, I reach out to best fit accounts, I nurture the relationship. I'm not something like, let's say, big company, I want to close them, they're perfect fit. I know I'm not going to close them this month, but I'm not ignoring them because I know I will close them in January and make 300% of my quota, right? So this is where you have a plan, you execute consistently, and you have like really good results long term. So basically, I never miss my quota ever again, only in February, but here I have an excuse, I have a birthday. I always go on vacation and a month is kind of short, so that's a good excuse, but my February is always bad. So yeah, but the thing is, like, really, if you have a plan and you execute, and believe me, the best sales rep at HubSpot, then they're not more talented than you or me. They just bad in execution, and they're more strategic, and they are kind of have a process in place.
I think that's incredibly helpful. I appreciate you sharing actually this level of detail, and congrats on crushing quota the last several months consecutively. I'm sure you'll continue to do that into the summer. But yeah, it shouldn't be missed, the fact that putting a plan together, once you've identified what's working, by the way, because I'm sure, you also maybe had this conversation with your manager where you thought back to the months before that were successful and what you can take away from your day-to-day versus what you can replicate now to increase your chances of success. So I think that's incredibly helpful for people to see.
Yeah, and also like try to really play with your strengths. Like, I'm not an activity person. Like, if you will look at the activity report, I'm not doing enough calls. I'm not an activity person. Like, I'm more strategic. I'm more relationship building. That's my strengths, and I'm just focused on that strength and make the best out of it. While some people, they're successful and they're mad, they're making like so many calls, they're always on the call. So maybe they had problem with maybe closing, negotiation, but this thing that they compensate that weak kind of skill because they're doing so much activities, they're finding that business anyway, right? So again, I'm like, basically my kind of strength, it's closing. Like, if I have someone in my pipeline, I will close those guys. So I just need to have this execution, proper following up, really building relationship, and I'll get there. While some people, they're so like on the calls all the time, they're very activity people, and that's fine. And they're successful doing that, right? So sales process, what company will give you is kind of understanding of the basic sales process, how it works, but then you can adjust based on your skills, and you will execute a really good if you understand how to make it work.
I'm actually really glad you mentioned that, because I think especially people that are earlier on in the career, but not necessarily, people that are early on in their career, they think that they have to be good at everything.
No.
Political and be good at relationships and, so on and so forth. And then you realize, for me, for us, it's with age, but you realize over time that if you're better at certain things, it's okay to focus on that. Like, not everyone's going to be great at everything, and most people are just not. And by focusing on your strengths, you are going to increase your chances of success.
Yeah. But like, and of course, like, if you feel like you have this, like you're bad in negotiation or something, you can always learn it. Oh my God, just go and learn from a person who's really good at that. Learn from a book. You can always master this, but do not like really focus on that so hard. So basically what I do, if I feel I'm bad at something, I work on that. But while I'm working on that, I focus where I'm strong, and basically I can compensate that, right? So it's really key thing. I would like a summary of of my presentation is like have so like if you really want to be a successful sales rep, first thing, believe me, there is no talent. There is no such a thing as a talent. If you work hard, if you execute consistently, if you learn all the time, you will be there. You will be the best sales rep in the company if you really have this mindset, right? Learn, execute, and you'll be there.
That's really great, and I think a great way to wrap up. Thank you so much, Kateryna, for your time, for showing us your calendar. That's insight that most people don't get. If you don't mind just going on to the last slide where we have the survey link, but I'll also drop it into the chat. Folks, your feedback for us is super helpful, so if you don't mind going to the link I just dropped, school16.co/survey. We'll make sure that we keep these sessions super relevant. But I actually really like this format because you went into specifics that sometimes can't come out during a Q&A because you talked us through your day-to-day, how you observe these things. And I also appreciate your openness in talking about how maybe going into this role, you were maybe a little strong-headed and weren't open to feedback, but clearly had the awareness to understand that you had to maybe adjust some things and you had to listen to your managers. That's one of the benefits of working, by the way, in a sales capacity is you get to work with brilliant managers, and good managers care about your professional development. And by the way, during the hiring process, you should know who you're going to be reporting to, and you're also qualifying them, right? Are they going to care about me? If this is your first sales job, are they going to help you learn how to sell? If this is your second, third, fourth sales job, are they going to help you get to the next stage in your career? Clearly, HubSpot really cares about that. And you having the awareness to take that feedback, adjust your approach is how you progress your career. So I really appreciate you being open and sharing that as well.
Cool. Thank you very much. Look, if you, again, have any questions left for me, you can always add me in LinkedIn, just text me there. I'm open for a chat. So thank you very much, guys, for joining, and hope it was helpful. Really, like I tried to make it more human-based, not like a boring speaker, but look, just I believe this is something that I would love to hear when I was like at the entry of my career, you know? So just really because I thought that successful sales rep is somebody super talented, I'm just not there, I'm not enough. Just don't think that like this. Like they're the best sales reps I speak to every day. They're just so good in execution, in learning, and anyone can do it. Like anyone.
That's great words to leave on, and I'm sure you are talented, and if not, you clearly knew how to develop those talents and get there. So that's critical too.
Thank you, Kateryna. And I know it's midnight right now, so we're going to let you go.
All right, go to sleep then.
I know you're sending emails at 9 a.m., so we'll let you get to sleep so you can make sure you hit quota again next month.
All right, cool. Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me here today. Bye-bye, everyone. Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Great. All right. And thanks everybody who joined the call. Again, as people leave, we'll still here for the next 10 seconds before we drop the call. There's still 16 of you on there. Thank you so much for joining.